In the immediate short term, I think Bitcoin is due for some relief. Now, don't get me wrong. I have been vocally bearish on Bitcoin since we hit $98,000. But in today's video, I want to take you through some of my trades, taking a look at the most recent Bitcoin price action, and of course, going over the most important news in the industry. If you enjoy the content, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe. Without further ado, let's jump right into the video. This is going to be a quick update. So first and foremost, the recap of me being bearish. Right around $97,000, I was vocal about shorting Bitcoin. I shared it in my group. I shared it on the YouTube channel when everyone was screaming at the top of their lungs that Bitcoin was just going to explode to the upside. Guys, this is still bear market price action. You can see I maintain this short, currently 6 figures unrealized and 6 figures realized, because I don't actually think that the probabilities favor an aggressive move to the upside once more. I think we can pump a little bit, but I do think that ultimately we will be moving lower. Now that we got that out of the way, and you know that from a macro time frame perspective, I am still bearish on Bitcoin, let's go more locally. So you can see here that I entered a Bitcoin long right around $86,240. I shared this in my previous video talking about a little bit of relief. Now, was that it? Bitcoin went to just below $89,000. This was ultimately a nice scalp long, but I maintain my position because I actually think that Bitcoin can move a little bit higher here before rolling over. Now, on these kinds of scalp trades, I risk way less capital compared to these big swing shorts. So, to be vocal about it once more, I do think Bitcoin is headed lower after a little bit of relief. So right now, an invalidation for the most bullish case scenario would be if we start targeting $86,900. If Bitcoin does tap into this zone once more, it's highly likely that we can get another move below where my long entry was executed. So that's something you need to consider. However, for now, I do think that relief is due for a couple of reasons that I'd like to outline in today's quick video. First and foremost, we do have a local CME gap right up to above $89,000. Second of all, we have another CME gap all the way up to $93,000. And actually, if you're looking for a potential swing short in this market, this could be an interesting area if you're not already positioned from around $97,000, which was my average entry for my most recent Bitcoin short. And of course, all of the trades that you're seeing were shared in my premium group. If you want a no bullshit approach to the crypto market, trading it every single day, whether we go up or down, make sure to DM me the keyword 2026 on Telegram after you click this first link in the description down below. You'll get access to my free group where I share all of my own personal trade setups. And on that note, a reminder that I am not a financial advisor. Nothing that I discuss on the channel should be construed as financial advice. I'm just a guy on the internet sharing his own personal trade setups and of course his overall market analysis. Now that we got that out of the way, I do think that Bitcoin is due for a little bit of relief because we do have those CME gaps to the upside, and we managed to almost tap into the value area low since November of 2024. The key word there is almost. Can we revisit it lower before another bounce? Yes, that is a possibility. But the reason that I executed this most recent scalp long is simply because we tapped into the biggest local liquidity zone that we've had for quite some time. If you remember correctly, we had tons of downside liquidity. A lot of people went long sub $87,000. So I was always eyeing this region for a potential long in the market. And the moment that we swept it multiple times, this was the confirmation that I needed to go long. This execution was of course shared in my group before I came on the YouTube channel, but something for you to consider is Bitcoin can actually move a little bit higher from here before potentially rolling over. What I really want you to pay attention to is not only the CME gaps, but locally we do have some liquidity to the upside. Of course, there's always going to be people trying to long here, but I do think that from a larger time frame perspective, it would be far too easy for Bitcoin to just dump immediately. My base case though is that Bitcoin will be going below $80,000, below $70,000, likely below $60,000 in this year, and I see that as an excellent buying opportunity. That being said, on the 180-day time frame, there is far too many shorts in this market. It would not surprise me if we can grab a little bit of upside liquidity. If we go on the 30-day time frame, it paints a very similar picture. Usually, when we see this kind of price action, Bitcoin goes to the closest liquidity cluster. Yes, we do have a lot of liquidity below $86,000. I'm not downplaying that. In fact, if Bitcoin were to go there, then of course, the price action would be below my most recent long entry. But I am perfectly content with my position because my bigger positions in this market are protected. So what I mean by this is, yes, I have this scalp long open. You can see that I'm currently up around $9,000 on this trade, but I have my swing short, which will continue to be held, and my stop loss is also at break even on this one, so I stand to lose no capital, along with my swing long from the lows, which is still technically valid. I've secured most of the profits on this trade, which has been constantly referred to on the channel, but I'm still holding a little bit of a moon bag on this one as well, with my stop loss at break even, so I'm essentially risking no capital. At this point, I can just sit back and let the market do its thing. So in the immediate short term, I actually think that Bitcoin could see a little bit of upside here to liquidate some aggressive shorts in the market before potentially moving lower. That is currently my base case. Now, when I say immediate short term, this could be price action that develops in the next 12 to 72 hours. So we'll have to see what happens here. But ultimately, I would probably consider taking profits on this most recent scalp long if we are to surpass $90,000. Reminder, if you want to see all of my trades before I hop on the YouTube channel every single day, you do have that first link in the description down below. DM me the keyword 2026. So, what is next? Yesterday, the ETFs were actually positive, but it's a bit comical. I mean, 7 million in inflows is absolutely nothing. But usually what you want to see here is we get significant outflows and then the tide slowly starts to turn. The reverse is also true. When we get significant inflows into the Bitcoin spot ETFs, especially when we are in a confirmed bear market, this can be seen as an opportunity because when we had these inflows, that's what contributed to Bitcoin pumping all the way up to $98,000. And therefore, I went short because it was a bearish retest. Something else you want to consider here. The stock market did have a positive day yesterday. If this can continue, all of a sudden, stocks will be at all-time highs once more. But Bitcoin and the crypto market is the riskiest of asset classes, and therefore, just because the stock market goes up, it doesn't mean that Bitcoin and crypto has to go up. Also, if the stock market is to reject, unfortunately, I do think that this would have an impact on Bitcoin. So let's see how the local price action develops. And I also wanted to bring this to your attention. I mean, Bitcoin dominance is going to continue to go up. That is currently my base case. I think we will see Bitcoin dominance back above 60%. This is not an environment conducive to altcoin season. Now, something else you need to understand, the Coinbase Premium Index did continue to go into deep red. As soon as this starts flipping, that's when we can get a little bit of relief in the market. Again, I have to reiterate, I am not macro bullish on Bitcoin, especially over the course of this year. But on the lower time frames, it does make sense to me for us to go ahead and liquidate some aggressive shorters in this market. I have seen a lot of people go aggressively short right around this level, $89,000. And so it would not surprise me if, because they're late to the party, they will get liquidated first before Bitcoin could potentially go lower. Let's see. I'm ultimately gunning for Bitcoin to go back above $90,000. Only time will tell. This is a very small trade compared to my other positions. Just have to put that out there. But locally, I do think we can get a little bit more of a bounce than what we're seeing right now. And tomorrow we do have the Fed interest rate decision. We already know there's a 97% chance that no changes will occur. Now, the real question is, what will Jerome Powell say at the press conference? Will he come across as dovish? Will he come across as hawkish? Only time will tell. And the last thing in this quick video to bring to your attention, Tether did buy 27 tons of gold in Q4 of 2025, which is now worth $4.4 billion. This is a crypto-first company buying as much gold as possible. The tables have turned. And that sums up this very quick update. Not much has changed. More locally, I am favoring a little bit of a move to the upside, but from a higher time frame perspective, I'm still remaining in my Bitcoin short because I think that $97,000 was an excellent entry. But just in case, my stop loss is at break even. Right now, I can essentially just sit back, let the market do its thing. No stress whatsoever. If you enjoyed the content, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe. As always, I have my bluff and leverage trading tutorial right here, my community, which is the first link in my description down below, and I'll see you in the next video.